This is Second Down on ESPN Radio. Christian Gokel, glad to have you hanging out with us here on this Friday afternoon. Got a lot to dive into. We'll potentially be joined by PJ Zuko and Cam Ursery at some point. I know these guys getting busy, getting ready for some high school basketball coming up tonight, but also I just like to give PJ hell as he gets set up here, as the show has already started. No, I control the microphones today. Cam's not in the studio, PJ. All right, go ahead.
So am I good? Am I on?
Yeah, right. you are on the air.
Well, hi.
You're live. You're not gonna ask me.
Yeah, hey, perfectly right at the right
first
time and everything.
First time, long time. How are y'all today?
Oh no, not at all. I mean, I think I got here right at time.
No, right, you're good. Cam sending me a message. He's like, "Oh, I had to reboot my computer." It's amazingly convenient how all of these things start to happen. Who has to reboot like a brand new Mac besides no one? So the excuse is coming here early. You guys start the weekend a little bit early here.
Excuse at all. Listen, PJ arrives precisely when he means to.
All right,
that's
Gandalf.
The saying, right?
All right, Gandalf.
Yeah.
I don't know if a wizard would be the species from Lord of the Rings that I would compare you to.
What does that mean?
In terms of stature.
Oh man, do you think I'm an Ent?
No.
Oh.
Gonna go more towards the Hobbit side.
Oh, gotcha.
There it is. All right, but anyway, we got some college football to talk today. I know you're like, man, college football's been over for a while now. We get NFL playoffs. Listen, the world of college football, especially in the era of transfer portal and NIL, never sleeps. Plus, we have signing day 2.0 coming up in just a few weeks here. So we're getting closer and closer to signing day and seeing and finalizing how these classes are going to wind up. Texas A&M, obviously, I think far and away the winners for that one, but Alabama, Georgia still fighting for some big time prospects out there that are still on the board. But the news of the day, Derrick Mason, Auburn defensive coordinator, headed out to take over the defensive coordinator spot at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's defensive coordinator shipping up to Ohio State. So just some coaching shuffling going on right now. But it's interesting because I don't know about you, PJ, that I would consider that a step up. I mean, you're at Auburn.
Yeah.
It's in the SEC. You're making a lot of money in one of the premier schools inside of college football. And I guess Oklahoma State just played for a conference championship.
True.
And lost like last seconds. But still, I mean, if you're ranking hierarchy of college football, what would you consider a better job?
I'd say that is, now I respect Oklahoma State, I think a bit more than a lot of people, but I would call that a lateral move.
Okay.
I'd call that lateral.
I would call it like a slightly declining move.
I think like if you're in the top of the Big 12, you're pretty much right in the middle of the SEC.
Are they
right?
the top? Are they the top of the Big 12, or did they just like happen in a down year for a couple of big time schools, happen to jump up there, win their side?
Oklahoma State's pretty much always up there.
What percentage chance would you give them of making it back to the conference championship next year?
A good solid percentage chance. Like
define solid.
Like
80% chance.
Something like that. Yeah.
All right. Well, PJ's riding with the Cowboys out there, but I found it interesting because you think defensive coordinator position at Auburn, usually the only job you take after that is a head coaching job. And Derrick Mason coming over after he gets released from Vanderbilt, goes and takes that over. And it was now both coordinators have been fired at Auburn. Mike Bobo got the axe, and now Derrick Mason. I shouldn't say fired. Both coordinators have moved on. Mike Bobo got the axe. Derrick Mason electing to go take over the job at Oklahoma State. And what I find interesting about this, PJ, is before I found this out, I thought we could go through next year and not have a coaching change in the SEC. Because the past couple of years, it's been a lot.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you had Leach and Kiffin coming in to take over the Mississippi schools. You had just this past few years, Eli Drinkwitz has come in, Shane Beamer's come in, Josh Heupel's come in. You've had a ton of movement. Sam Pittman taking over at Arkansas. There's been a ton of movement. Last year was the first year for Brian Harsin at Auburn. So you had all of that, and then you had the coaching changes this offseason with Billy Napier taking over at Florida. You have Brian Kelly down at LSU, and I'm like, all right, well, okay, who outside of that is left? It's the untouchables, quote unquote, right? You have Kirby Smart at Georgia. You have Nick Saban at Alabama, obviously, Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. Those guys aren't getting fired. Mike Stoops, not getting fired. The job he's done with that Kentucky program, they're not getting fired. But Derrick Mason bolting for Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. So now I'm starting to sit there and think, could Brian Harsin be coaching for his job in 2022?
Ooh. Yeah, that's an interesting point because we are allowing less and less patience for college coaches in 2021, in 2022. Oh my gosh, I will say that, over the past 5 or 6 years, the leash that we've had on college coaches has shrunk exponentially. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, I think it's a bad thing, but at the end of the day, that doesn't change things, and you're expected to win and win all the time in the SEC as well. So could that happen? Yeah. Would I be surprised and disappointed if we're looking at him coaching for his job and possibly out the door if he has a rough year? Very much so, because I just don't think we give guys chances anymore. And if there is a chance, it's 3 years, and it's like, well, you should be getting your guys by now, and they should be taking over, and you're still not winning. So see ya. Sorry, you can't beat Alabama yet. Like, not a lot of people can beat
I don't
Alabama,
know if that's the problem though. I don't know if it's sorry you can't beat Alabama. I think it's
I just
you finished second to last in
yeah, that's rough.
in the SEC West.
Yeah. No, I mean, they were a 6-6 football team at the end of the year. That's not where
And then lost the bowl game, yeah.
You lost their bowl game, but they also lost now, albeit he wasn't having an insanely great year.
Well,
They
he lost 5 in a row.
their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Their other quarterback was kind of in and out and injured from time to time as well. So they fell on some rough situations. But agreed, as the Auburn head coach and as the Auburn program, you're expected to be doing a lot more than 6-7.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, here's where I'm kind of at with it too, as Cam hops in here with us. Cam, is it possible that next year Auburn's the worst team in the SEC West?
Whew. That's a hot take, but actually you might be right. Will Rogers is coming back to Mississippi State. Will he know what he could do? Arkansas and Sam Pittman have things cooking up. Ole Miss, Bama, A&M not going anywhere, and Brian Kelly's at LSU. You might actually be right, man. Dang. And that sucks to hear that because it's Auburn and Iron Bowl at the end of the year. You look forward to that, but you might absolutely be right. I mean, they're tied for the bottom tier team right now in the SEC West, so I wouldn't be shocked if they were there next year again.
Yeah, I mean, so just look at what we're hearing is Alabama's gone out there and gotten all of these amazing transfers in, and they're Alabama. They already had the guys on campus anyway. Ole Miss, I would probably have number 2. They finished second this past year, but just with what Lane Kiffin's been able to do, and reports coming out late yesterday, Lane Kiffin in Athens potentially to talk to Jermaine Burton and JT Daniels about kind of a package deal over to Ole Miss, which would make sense if what both of them want is playing time and to throw/catch the football a lot. Ole Miss would make a whole lot of sense. So I'd probably have Ole Miss up there. And then, yeah, you can flip-flop me. I would hear arguments for Texas A&M, Arkansas, and LSU.
Yep.
For that third place spot.
Yeah.
But then like those 3 teams and then Mississippi State and then Auburn. I think Mississippi State's a better football team right now than Auburn.
Agreed.
And so Brian Harsin, all of a sudden sitting there, if he finishes last place in the SEC West next year, he could be done.
Yeah. No, very
like you
true.
don't hire head coaches at Auburn to finish last in the SEC West.
No, especially not. And if you're last place and you're losing all those teams, that means you're probably right there at 6-6 again, or right there even with a losing record. So, yeah, you're right. It's one of those things that too. I think at the beginning, like we hyped Auburn up so much, and they were supposed to be such a good football team that. In my own vein, I kind of started at that, and then as the season just went on, it just kind of deteriorated. So, yeah, no, you're exactly right. I still think it'd be a little quick, but I mean, you can't, like you said, you can't have that program just maintaining that same that same kind of result when the status quo is at least like I would compare, like if we're talking about actual results, right? Not the tradition and the scope of them in college football and what people think of them, right? I would compare Auburn a lot to like a Michigan, where they're supposed to be around like 9-3. Like their fans, their program expects them to be like 9-3, 10-2 every single year. So when you get back,
I don't know if that's true. I think the nation expects that.
Yeah.
I think Auburn fans expect their team to go to the SEC championship.
Right.
I mean, it's a team that won a national championship in 2010 and went to another one in 2013.
Yeah, and I feel like 2010 is almost it was you had a superhuman on your football
but it
team.
seems weird now. But with the way the transfer portal works, I think the Cam Newton seasons are going to not to that same degree of how good he was, but I think you're going to see more of that. Could Caleb Williams go somewhere and transform a team just in 1 year with how good he is? Remember what Cam Newton did? If you ever want to bring this up, I'm going to take time to talk about it.
That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, Cam Newton carried an offense that didn't have another player play in the NFL to a national championship.
Yeah.
Right. So I think there's a chance we see more and more of that just with the transfer portal rules. But also remember what Cam Newton did: played at Florida for a year, transferred, won a JUCO national championship, and then went to Auburn. So he was a junior when he did that.
Yeah.
The Caleb Williams will be a sophomore. So I mean that's the little bit of a differentiator. Cam Newton had to go pay his dues in JUCO.
Right. And that's all I'm saying is like that could happen. But yes, like think about what you just said about him winning a national championship without another NFL type of talent on his team. Like that is an outlier. Like that's not what I feel like every football program should expect out of their football team every single year. Like,
but then 3 years later, you had a defensive back,
right,
play quarterback and carry your team to a national championship with Nick Marshall. Did you have two of the most unbelievable plays of all time happen to help you get there with the kick six and the prayer Jordan Hare? Sure, but you got there. So when you say Auburn fans expect to go 9-3, I think Auburn fans would say that's a disappointment. I think Auburn fans expect to go 11-1, 12-0, and go to the SEC championship.
Right.
And you're finishing 6-7. Now, here's the other thing I think is interesting, and which is why I've never been a huge proponent of basing narratives and storylines completely off of box scores and records. Auburn went 6-7 last year. South Carolina went 7-6. How different are the perspective for those two schools?
From their fans or from us?
From the fans and from us. We're talking about Auburn being a dumpster fire. We're talking about Shane Beamer maybe being coach of the year.
Yeah, huge. Enormous.
And it's one game difference.
But I mean, yeah, there's one game difference. But like you said, the perspective is a lot different.
Yeah.
Then again, there are some crazy South Carolina fans out there that were like, man.
Okay. Talk about teams that
we might have a chance.
But talk about teams that have past championship, because South Carolina doesn't. South Carolina doesn't have past championship experience. They got a whole bunch of, or not even a whole bunch. They won 3 straight SEC East championships during the Spurrier era, but didn't win an SEC title. Yeah. Okay, a better comparison might be Tennessee. Tennessee is a championship program.
Yeah.
And even into the early 2000s, championship level football team. They went 7-6 last year. How different is the energy in Knoxville right now than in Auburn?
Big different because of just, the turnaround.
Right.
And the expectation in the offseason.
I think you have to look deeper than the record, and I think you have to look at the transfers, look at what the energy is like inside of the program, and look at how teams played. Tennessee, they lose the bowl game, but going into that, they were 7-5, and a couple plays go a different ways. They were a couple plays away from being a 9-win football team.
Yeah.
Whereas Auburn loses their last 5 games, and there's just been no pulse really. I mean, like I guess Zach Calzada and whatever the kid's name is out of Oregon that came in as the quarterback transfers, maybe, but I don't think the quarterback is where Auburn's had his issues. I think it's been up front for Auburn where they've just been getting decimated, and you haven't seen a whole lot of movement in that area. So my thought coming in to today was we might go through a whole year without seeing an SEC coaching change. And now I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, if there's going to be a guy, and the only ones I would say maybe that could go somewhere else could be like a Lane Kiffin if an NFL job attracts him. But outside of that, in terms of getting fired, unless like maybe Eli Drinkwitz like falls off a cliff next year with his team, because I kind of think they're trending in the right direction. They've won some recruiting battles. They got the Luther Burden kid, the big time 5-star wide receiver. They got him to stay home when he was thinking about going to Georgia. So they've won some recruiting battles, and they're going to be feisty in the coming year. So like unless they fall off a cliff, like you got Kentucky bringing in all the Stoopses.
Yeah.
Like
every single one.
Yeah, Mike Stoops ain't going anywhere. Clark Lee's just going to do. You went 0-8 at Vanderbilt, 2-10 this year. You haven't heard any kind of mumblings whatsoever out of Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And everyone else in the SEC West is on the up and up.
Right.
I mean, Nick Saban ain't going anywhere. Lane Kiffin's going to Sugar Bowls. Sam Pittman is completely transformed Arkansas just in a couple of years. Mike Leach is the perfect fit at Mississippi State. I mean, maybe if he has another down year, they were 7-6 this past year. Jimbo Fisher just beat Alabama and has the number 1 overall recruiting class. And Brian Kelly is trying to do a Mel Tucker at LSU this year and just completely flip the depth chart with transfers in the offseason. So I think there's one coach you're now staring at is Brian Harsin. And I think with Derrick Mason heading off to Oklahoma State, I think the glares have gotten pretty real down at Auburn. We'll have to watch and see how this offseason unfolds. Auburn's gotten some transfers in, but like I said, I think it's going to come down to the line of scrimmage for the Tigers there. We got more to come here on Second Down. NFL playoffs coming up. We got a special edition of No Huddle coming your way a little bit later. We'll dive into that. More college football talk as well when we come back right here on Second Down. Second Down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by the Uniform Source. We got the divisional round of the NFL playoffs coming up. Christian Gokel alongside Cam Urshery and PJ Zuko. Glad to have y'all with us here on this Friday afternoon. Saturday football coming up tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. You have the Cincinnati Bengals hitting the road after their big-time wild card win over the Raiders. First win since before text messaging. Have you gotten tired of that fact yet? Have you gotten tired of that fact yet?
No. I think it's great. I think it's great because I think that's a good thing for me because that means they weren't successful for a long time. Because I'm a Steelers fan, so that's awesome. I just think it's great all in all.
Better fact: first playoff victory since before anybody on the show was born.
Yes, that's fantastic. That's another good one. I mean,
Right.
there's a number of different things that you could do. Like they were coming out with like what was popular the last time the Cincinnati Bengals got a playoff victory.
Everybody does that for like every win. I saw it after the Georgia National Championship. I don't need to be reminded that Pac-Man
Well, see, you
was
don't.
invented.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to see that because you're a Georgia fan.
Well, it's my show.
But as non-Bengals fans, it's pretty funny.
I don't want to talk about it.
Stop making this about Georgia.
Sorry.
We're talking about the Bengals.
Tend to do that. No, we're talking about NFL playoff picks. We're going to dive into them here, and we're going to start with the Bengals at the Tennessee Titans. Cincinnati coming off that big win against the Raiders. Titans coming off the news that they get Derrick Henry back for this game. I always look at it from the college perspective, and they're going to talk about this more on 3 and Out. Two of the greatest seasons ever from Joe Burrow and Derrick Henry in terms of college football. Derrick Henry over 2,000 yards rushing, Heisman Trophy winner. Joe Burrow, maybe the best passing season of all time when he did it. So we got those two former Heisman winners going head to head here. Cam, we'll start with you. Titans, Bengals, who wins and why?
I'll say the Titans. I'll just say it's levels to everything, and Derrick Henry coming back, that experience they got for the Titans, their defense is top 5, their offense, it's top 5, top 10-esque when Derrick Henry's back. Julio's healthy. A.J. Brown is a top 10 receiver. And I love the Bengals, but it's a lot of experience on that team. And they've been to AFC Championship, and they're trying to get back there and ultimately to the Super Bowl. So that's why I take the Titans.
I would love to go with the Bengals here, and I'd love for it to be like a shootout and an exciting type of ball game. But I think he kind of mentioned it there. It's not so much Derrick Henry; it's more about the Titans' defense and the lack of kind of defense there for the Bengals. I mean, you let Oakland score some points on you, and let's be real. Like Oakland is a good football team. I don't think they're on the same level as Tennessee right now. So. It's tough. I think it's a close game. I think Derrick Henry maybe takes some time to get back in the groove, but their running game's been pretty good even without him. So give me one of those ugly, kind of gross Tennessee wins where they play really good defense. Ryan Tannehill throws for like $150, and they end up winning.
It's interesting that you say that about the Raiders and then the Titans. Care to guess where the Raiders were rated in the regular season in terms of points per game?
I don't know.
They're probably top 5.
Oh, there you go.
They're probably top 5.
Offense or
no points per game given up?
What were they? Top 5?
Top 10.
Top
you know
10?
who's not?
Yeah.
Tennessee Titans.
Really?
I will say this though. Tennessee has played probably the hardest schedule in the NFL, and they've beaten all the top teams outside of I think two teams. They've beaten Buffalo. They beat the heck out of Kansas City. And they beat the heck out of the Rams. That's a nice resume right there. I can't admit that.
Okay, going with the quarterbacks, though, which team do you feel like has the better quarterback?
Oh, Joe Burrow. Yeah, Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah, that's easy. Yeah, Cincinnati.
Okay, and Cincinnati, in terms of points per game, is better than the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, yeah, I know.
In terms of points per game, but I think they could possibly make more negative plays for Cincinnati. And
who is a better wide receiver, Julio Jones or Jamar Chase?
Oh, God, that's right now, probably Jamar Chase.
Right now, Jamar, but I would say A.J. Brown is kind of doing what Jamar Chase is doing, though, too. A.J. Brown is kind of like, he's the real deal. I can't lie. He's emerged. I will give him that. I think tough.
Jamar Chase is one of like the top 5 or 6 wide receivers in the NFL right now.
I completely agree.
Already.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I'm with you there.
I agree. I'll give Tennessee the benefit of the doubt because they did beat Lamar when
Why?
Lamar was hot. They beat Lamar. They've already beat Lamar twice in 2 playoff games, like twice, and that's when Lamar won MVP, and they were 14-2. So
But
this Tennessee team's
why are you
capable.
giving them the benefit of the doubt, though?
No, I mean, I'll give them this benefit of the doubt. They've gone the whole season without Julio Jones, without Derrick Henry, and they have the best record in the AFC right now. And I've seen the Bengals lose to Mike White in the Jets, Andy Dalton, Chicago Bears, and they lost to Case Keenum with the Browns 41-16, and then they lost to the Browns again at the end of the year. Those are 4 really bad losses. I don't see a bad loss on Tennessee's resume, maybe outside of the Jets game where they didn't have A.J. Brown and Julio Jones.
I don't know. I think the Bengals, they're going to go in there and get it done.
That'd be great.
I like Joe Burrow. I like Jamar Chase. I like that Bengals defense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take the Bengals. All right, moving on. A little bit later that night, as we stick here, just going through our NFL playoff. I can't believe you guys are going against a guy in Joe Burrow who has never lost a gotta have it game, whether it's in the NFL or in college football.
And now he's going to lose it to Ryan Tannehill.
Apparently. A little bit later that night on Fox, you have the 49ers coming off smacking the Dallas Cowboys, taking on Cam's favorite quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, and the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. Cam?
This is a bad matchup for Green Bay, actually.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Not again, Cam.
No, I'm picking Green Bay to win by a touchdown. It's something about those 49ers. Those dudes play hard regardless who's their quarterback. They win with anybody. I mean, I think Shanahan has had 5 different running backs in the past 5 years lead his team in rushing. Like, they're physical, but I'll take Green Bay by a touchdown.
All right, I'm going to say it again, and
say it.
You know, hopefully this works out better than last week. But listen, we're not dealing with the Cowboys this week.
Okay.
It's the Packers. They've been there before. They know how to win in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're going to run away with this one. I know I've seen a lot of different people say that if anyone has a blueprint or the script or the personnel to beat the Packers, it's the 49ers. You know what? Aaron Rodgers is going to go out there. He's going to light it up, and they're going to win like 27-7. It's going to happen. They're going to win. Packers.
Okay. Just researching this game, the thing that sticks out to me the most is just how different the two offenses are. San Francisco is 29th in the NFL in pass attempts. 29th in the NFL in pass attempts.
Like 7 per game?
Hey, apparently. Green Bay is a little bit more towards the middle tier because they've found a running game this year. They are 15th in the NFL, but they're 11th in the NFL in completions, where the 49ers are 26th. But rushing yards, San Francisco is 7th in the NFL. Green Bay is way down at 18. Got to run the football.
Yeah.
And Deebo Samuel, the way he's come on.
Oh, no.
But to me, it's the playoffs. It always comes down to two things. Throwing the football and rushing the guy who's throwing the football. I think Green Bay can do both of those things just a little bit better.
There you go.
And it's Aaron Rodgers at home. Cold,
blizzard,
8:15 at Lambeau. I'll take the Packers here. I just think Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Garoppolo is about as deep into that matchup as you need to go. All right, Sunday I think is going to be much better than Saturday. You got Rams, Buccaneers kicking things off at 3:00 over at NBC. The Rams coming off of just turning Kyler Murray into a meme, I guess is the best way to put that. They're taking on the undisputed heavyweight champ of the world, Tom Brady, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cam, which way you leaning in this one?
I'll take the Rams. I think Brady and them are just decimated a little too much, and that Rams defense is scary good. So I'll take the Rams in this one.
It is scary, and it's difficult to bet against Tom Brady at all. But I feel like when you have that many injuries and things like that, it's got to catch up to you at some point, right? And I have said from the beginning of the playoffs that I've been kind of wanting the Rams to make this run, and I believe in them too. I think they're hitting their stride at the right time. I think that defense can cause problems for Tom Brady, including, of course, Aaron Donald, but everybody else on the defense as well.
Did you just combine Aaron Donald, and Sam Darnold?
Let's not talk about the things that I'm saying. Let's just keep moving on.
All right.
Anyway, the gist of it is I think the Rams are going to come away with the victory. Yeah,
Wait, so Cam, did you pick the Rams here too?
yeah, he did.
Oh yeah, I picked the Rams.
It's not good.
And I'll put it like this: they played earlier this season, and they whooped up on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Whooped them. So this is a rematch.
What happened to the whole? It's real hard to beat the same team twice.
I ain't going with that. I like what the Rams looking like. I'm not doing that this time.
It's so that's where it comes from, PJ. It's so hard to beat the same team twice.
It is though. It is.
Play everybody twice, so they're used to it.
Stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
They're used to it.
If you're the better football team, you're the better football team. Goodness gracious. I think the Rams win a close one. It makes me uncomfortable because all three of us pick the Rams. One thing to watch out for this one is going to be a frigid 58 degrees down in Tampa Bay.
Dang,
that's nice.
They're going to need their snowsuits.
Frigid.
What are they doing?
How about two teams that just aren't equipped to deal with that?
No.
Los Angeles and Tampa Bay. 58 degrees. I hope those guys are okay. The fans are going to be loving it, though. All right. Later on that evening, 6:30 on CBS, Bills, Chiefs. You have a couple of MVPs, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, going head-to-head here. Patrick Mahomes coming off of a filthy playoff performance, 404 yards, 5 touchdowns. But Josh Allen in a blizzard coming off of a pretty filthy one himself. Two of the hottest quarterbacks in the NFL at the moment. Cam, which way you leaning?
I will go Chiefs by like 3 points. The Bills already beat them earlier this year, and I feel like Josh Allen and them are really inconsistent, and I think Patrick Mahomes remembers that embarrassing loss they had against the Bills, and they'll avenge that in this playoff run. I think it's once again, it's levels, and in order for Josh Allen to make that next step, you've got to get through Mahomes, but not this year.
Yeah, and for some people, the next step never really comes, right? And most of the time it's because there's a team.
PJ.
Sorry, most of the time PJ. Because there's a team or two.
Why you just like we're trying to be encouraging out here on a Friday, and PJ drops. For some people, the next step never comes.
It's just true, man.
Damn.
And most of the time it's because there's a team that just won't get out. No,
that's beyond sports. That feels like you were talking to people in life. Like somebody was like gonna walk into their boss and ask for a raise, and you just like discourage them from doing that.
Why?
Why are you out here discouraging people, PJ?
In that case, like you need to take the next step. Go ahead and do it. I'm not talking about you. No. Some people though that like the door just gets shut. Okay.
Again. Just pick the pick. Making us depressed here on a Friday.
Oh man, that's what you pay me for.
I don't pay you. I don't pay you at all.
A lot of times it's because there's a team that's standing in the way, and that team is the Kansas City Chiefs. They're hitting their stride, like I said about the Rams, kind of at the perfect time. I know they had a couple iffy games throughout the regular season, but there to close out the year, they've been playing fantastic, and they made the best team in the playoffs. The Steelers looked like fools there last week in the second half. So, I'll go with the Chiefs in this one. 7-10 points.
Man, this one. I feel like the Bills are the more physical football team, but it's hard to pick against Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill at home. I think it's gonna be a little bit closer than most people think, but I do think the Chiefs pull it out because they're at home. All right, PJ, you're our program guy. How many of these games were you carrying on the radio this weekend?
Man, most of them.
Let's break it down by market. If you're listening in Savannah, Georgia this weekend,
listen. Okay, I'm pretty sure.
PJ, this is like tomorrow.
No, I know. And that's why I was late to the commercial break because I'm working on tomorrow right now. And I'm also working on the show. So I was doing tomorrow a couple minutes ago. So for Savannah, you're going to have, I think the later NFL games, but you're going to have college basketball before that.
Okay.
And for Brunswick, you're going to have, I believe, all the football games.
Cool.
So
what about Sunday?
Sunday's wild, man. Normally Sunday you should have all the football games.
There's a lot of shoulds in this.
Listen, man.
All right, so to recap though, you got Georgia basketball in Savannah tomorrow early in the afternoon, and then after that you will have 49ers and Packers. If you're listening in Brunswick, you will have Bengals, Titans, 49ers, Packers on Saturday, and then all markets will have Rams, Buccaneers, Bills, and Chiefs coming up on Sunday.
So you had it right there the whole time?
No.
Oh, okay. I will say that you give me this commercial break And I should have just previewed it, right?
Yeah, a little
You give me-
teaser here.
Yeah, even this commercial break, I'll come back and all those shoulds will be gone.
PJ will let you know what's coming up on ESPN Radio this weekend. And again, if I'm right about what I just said, just come back and say Christian was right, and we'll be good to go.
I don't know if I can say that.
Well, I will. We'll be right back here on Second Down. Second Down, getting you ready for the divisional round playoffs coming up this weekend. PJ Zuko here to let you know what you're going to be able to hear here
Hey-o.
on ESPN Radio.
Yeah, so I can't say you were right because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't hear what you said for the first part of
Can
Saturday.
I try it? Can I try it?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So in both markets, we will have Duke.
Wait. No, because you just talked to Kevin.
Hold on. But I was
Yeah.
right. I'll tell you what I said.
Nah.
In both markets tomorrow at noon, we'll have Duke, Syracuse. After that in Savannah, we got Georgia basketball coming up for you. And then later that night, we'll have divisional round playoffs for you. In Brunswick and Waycross, we got all the NFL games.
And you're telling me that you knew that.
That's
I
what
knew
you everything.
said last
I knew
segment.
everything about except the Duke basketball. And
Okay.
I knew
All right.
everything but that.
Okay. But no,
Cam,
that's right. Yeah.
Cam, how familiar are you with a little game we like to play called No Huddle?
Not familiar. I'm just know that about Madden. I just, run
All right,
no huddle
so
offense.
you're already doing pretty okay here. No Huddle is a zombified game that we stole from the Cemetery of 3 and Out. Basically, the way this works is I have 7 questions. You have 3.5 minutes between you and PJ to answer all of them. So this is not a segment where you go, let me expunge upon my thoughts. I need a quick answer to all of these questions. PJ and I did this before the national championship. PJ started off like the Wisconsin offense, finished like Bryce Young. So you feel pretty comfortable here.
Not really. You got to give me a second to get going. The first answer is going to be long, and then I'm gonna tune myself down.
Well, now you have 2 people answering, so
the
we
rest
got to
of the
go.
way. No, I know. I'm gonna try.
All right.
Listen, I'm gonna do what I can.
So we're gonna put this ball. How far are we driving here?
We're not.
85 yards, starting from the 15.
Sure. Yeah,
All
that
right,
sounds
we're
great.
starting from the 15.
We got a holding penalty.
We
on-
got to
yeah.
we got to get in the end zone. So we're gonna kick this off here. No huddle here on second down.
Buckle up and hold on tight. It's the No Huddle on second down.
2, 1.
All right, who would you rather have on your playoff team? Joe Burrow, Derrick Henry, or Aaron Donald? PJ, you go first.
Oh, holy cow. Right now, Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald, period, is just dominate the other side of the other team's offense and disrupt their flow in the running game and possibly the passing game. Give me him.
Yeah, I have to go with PJ. Aaron Donald, best player in the NFL, in my opinion. First time, he's the only player to make first team All-Pro 7 years in a row in NFL history. Give me Aaron Donald.
All right, best unit, offense or defense, left in the playoffs.
Oh man, Kansas City's offense still. Kansas City's offense.
Respect that.
Man, I would actually have to go Green Bay's offense. They don't turn over the ball. So I would go Green Bay's offense.
I think it's hard to argue with either one of those. Who throws for the most yards this weekend?
Yeah, I'll go with actually Aaron Rodgers to go with Cam's guy there. I'll go with Aaron Rodgers surprising San Francisco and going on.
I will go with the team that doesn't like to run the ball, and that would be Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. That's all they literally do is pass the ball. I don't know if they win.
All right, who is the best remaining wide receiver?
Cam, go ahead.
I'm stuck
Look on
between
his face.
Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams, but give me Devontae Adams. I think he's more of he's harder to stop in my opinion because he has Aaron Rodgers as his QB.
No Stephon Diggs, no Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I mean that's rough. I think just because of his I like big bodied wide receivers, and I think he uses it extremely well. So I'll go with Adams too.
All right, moving on here. As I pull it up, there you go. Which team replacing their head coach has the best chance of making the playoffs next year?
Oakland Raiders.
Well, they're in the playoffs this year. That's a good pick.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Jaguars dumpster fire. It's going to take time for them to turn around.
I would go Oakland, but I actually would go to Miami Dolphins. They have a lot of draft picks, and they left off on the right note, 8-1 in their last 9. Just got to get Tua healthy. That's it.
All right. Best remaining uniform in the playoffs.
Oh, my God.
Gotta go.
I know. Cincinnati Bengals. Actually, I love how they redesigned it and simplified it.
Respect.
I think they're clean.
Cam?
I'm in love with Green Bay's uniforms because the G, Georgia has this G down here, and their G is just, green and yellow.
We gotta go. Is there a better atmosphere in the NFL playoffs than Lambeau?
No,
Cam?
No, absolutely not.
All right.
not now, not ever.
With just a few seconds to spare, you guys found the end zone.
Let's go.
Well done, Cam, for your first time. You guys are moving and clicking and vibing. There's a few times you got stuck there, kind of like Dak Prescott running and sliding in the middle of the field with no time left on the clock. I thought you guys might have come up a little bit short, but you guys did a pretty good job. Let's run back through these real quick so I can tell you what's actually correct. Who would you rather have on your playoff team, Joe Burrow, Derrick Henry, or Aaron Donald? I think it's Joe Burrow. I think when it comes to impact on a team, quarterback is hard to argue with. But I think if there's any player in the NFL that you could argue is maybe as impactful as a quarterback, it's Aaron Donald just because of the devastation and havoc he causes.
Yeah.
But I think it's Joe Burrow. But you guys know I'm Team Joe Burrow. Best unit, offense or defense left in the playoffs? Rams defense. I'm going to go Rams.
That's what I was debating with.
Rams defense, I think, is the best unit left. Who throws for the most yards this weekend? That one's tough. Because I feel like weather's going to have a lot to do with what we're seeing this weekend. I want to pick somebody from the Rams, Buccaneers, but I also feel like those teams are going to try to run the football a little bit. Oh man,
couldn't agree more.
Give me Patrick Mahomes in that one. Who is the best remaining wide receiver? I mean, it's hard to argue against the guy who's leading the league in like almost every single receiving category.
Oh, he won the Triple Crown. He's leading the league in every category.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp. It's hard to argue against that. I know Mike Evans has been a little bit banged up though, and Mike Evans is that guy, and he is really hard to guard. But in terms of being a pure wide receiver, I'll take Jamar Chase.
Okay.
Which team replacing their head coach has the best chance of making the playoffs next year? This one is tough. I feel like the easy answer here is the Raiders.
Yeah, that's why I went with them.
Right, like that. I mean, they were literally in the playoffs, but also that division not great this year. Just to flip it around a little bit here, talking about the situation they have, talking about potentially being able to come back. Guys already have on their team. I'll take the Vikings.
Okay. See, I forgot about the Vikings, if I'm being honest.
I'll take the Vikings. Best remaining uniform of the playoffs. Guys, it's the 49ers, and it's not really close.
Ugh.
I think the 49ers have the best uniform in the NFL. That one's not really close.
I don't really like the Packers uniforms ever either. Like, I don't think that's good.
Buccaneers uniforms suck. The Rams uniforms are fine, I guess.
They're growing on me a little bit.
They used to be so much better, though.
Yeah, of course.
They used to be so much better. I mean, I don't think it's particularly close. I like KC's uniforms as well. They're classic. But, I mean, the 49ers, the gold and the red, that's pretty.
There's
That's pretty.
color combinations I've never liked. And, the Kansas City Chiefs, 49ers, Green Bay, that's all the traditional ones. Like, those are all the combinations that I really don't like.
And then, is there a better atmosphere in the NFL playoffs than Lambeau Field? That one's tough. A few that I would throw out there, though. Arrowhead, I think, is pretty elite.
Yeah.
The Mercedes-Benz Superdome down in New Orleans, I think that's super underrated in terms of how loud and how crazy it gets. I'm forgetting what Seattle Stadium, NRG Stadium.
Yeah, that might be the one that could.
That one's nasty.
Lambeau.
And I'll take Gillette. Gillette's pretty filthy as well.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it's underrated.
Yeah,
like people don't talk about that enough. What a home field advantage that is.
To come back to it, no, there is not a better atmosphere than a cold Lambeau Field in the NFL playoffs. We got to take a quick break. We'll come back, wrap up second down, get you ready for 3 and Out next. Second Down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by the Uniform Source. Got a big edition of 3 and Out coming up for you next. BJ Bennett, Ben Troop, and Kevin Thomas taking you into the weekend. Talk about some Joe Burrow action to start off the show there. How about that?
Looky there.
They are coming over to the Church of Joe Burrow. I appreciate that. They're also going to catch up with Ramon Foster, former Tennessee Volunteer and Steelers offensive lineman, now with 104.5 The Zone in Nashville. And then at 3:30, going to catch up with Josh Edwards from CBS Sports, talking Jaguars and Falcons draft. A little bit later in the show, of course, Take 3, as they do every single day. And then we'll catch up with former Georgia and New England Patriots tight end Jermaine Wiggins in the 5 o'clock hour. So a packed show coming up on 3 and Out. You can catch all of our shows, all the 3 and Out shows, Green, White, and Checkered, Back Nine Boys, anything we do here on ESPN Radio. You can check us out on ESPN Coastal's Spotify, SoundCloud, or YouTube. Catch all the shows there. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Enjoy some NFL playoff football, and we'll talk to all y'all on Monday.